March 6th now, so it's been basically 1 month since failure. And I don't have much of an update with that, because I feel the way I feel last time, or felt last time. I feel fine about it. It is what it is. I've gotten beyond the main points of dissatisfaction. I still, again, part of it still feels like a failure, and that's not going to go away. The other part of me hangs that as a hat. I'm a failed doctoral candidate. There's no reason to shy away from it. So goals for March, then. Picking up the pieces and moving on. Now a month later, in a new month. I'm just going to keep saying month a lot, I think. In a new time, moving forward. And I finished the first draft of my novel. Instead of jumping right into editing it, I chose to go into short story writing instead and do something completely different. I wrote a supernatural fiction book, do a short story fantasy. My book was rather light on description of location, setting, people, as I didn't think much of it was totally needed. The emphasis was upon the characters and what they were going through. So, in this short story, I'm trying to dive into writing more about location and environment, detailing more action. Just trying my hand at different things. My goals in life definitely seem to be centered around writing right now. My goals for tomorrow are centered around writing. I just want to get more done under my belt. I'm interested in getting into the editing process. There's already elements I know I want to add and adjust. There are things I know that need to be added to the book because of the way the finale played out and how it called upon premises that weren't fully realized in a way that I liked. So I'm going to keep those callback to the original premise. I just got to flesh out the original premise throughout the work of the book. It took a different turn than my original idea. I don't want to completely go away from what it became, but I want to add in some elements of what I had originally envisioned. Short story writing. I just want to explore different genres, different techniques, and just get a more robust skill set. I'm a good enough academic writer. Well, that's where I did well. I did well through academic writing. I was always bad at ideas. That's where my flaw came in with my dissertation. It wasn't the actual writing portion of it. It was just the ideas were not verbose enough. The concepts itself, the premise, was not up to par. And then theory. Theory was always my Achilles heel. It was 5 years ago. It was 1 month ago. It was always my Achilles heel. So, I want to develop better consistency in characters and develop techniques. Just develop better understanding of different character speech. My book is set in set in small town America, set in small town Indiana. And so a lot of the characters talk very similar because they're all filling out those same archetypal roles of elders within small town America. This not real politeness, but polite speech. It's not real politeness. There's no genuine care behind those words. Everybody knows the example from the South of bless their heart or bless your heart. That's polite words, polite speech. The meanings behind it are definitely not. And Midwest America has that too. I don't think I captured it all too well, honestly, as I spent most of my adolescence outside of Midwest America, outside of Indiana. But I think I got enough that the individuals of the small town, you can tell that they're neighbors. Their speech patterns are very similar. The word choices are similar. There's a distinctive enough feel. But my problem is that I have two characters that break away from this. They are supposed to talk very differently. Well, not too differently. But they're supposed to not be part of this upper echelon, this elder statesman of a small town. They shouldn't have the same speech patterns. And I worry that at times I dive into those, I bring those speech patterns from the rest of the characters into them a little bit too much. So in editing, I gotta look on that, work on that, and then through short story writing, I want to work on that. I want to work on drastically differences in speech. Not just in speech, but in following different points of view, different word choices. Following different thought patterns, if that's something I want to dive into. In my book, it's third person, and there are elements of getting the character's thoughts, but it's not always there. Most of the time it's through a character actively speaking aloud what they're thinking when alone, but I don't always dive into the way that they think, the way that they feel. I try to show it a bit more, but there are times where it is just written out. But I want to get better at that. So that's the month of March. I want to get better at this. I want to get better at writing in a multitude of ways. I want to get better at to still explore options. Completely changing the topic now, as honestly with writing I've explained everything at this point. I just want to get better at it. Simple as that. That's my main goal for March. Outside of that, I want to spend more time with my friends. I want to explore my options when it comes to career. I don't really want to leave the place I'm at. I really like it. Still. I like the people I work with a lot. I like most of the customers. So I really enjoy the place I'm at. And I have no desire to leave right now. But I still want to explore opportunities and options. If there's something out there that would let me use my master's in sociology, then probably jump at the chance. Life in the US is only going to keep getting more expensive. And And that's just the nature of capitalism. Inflation will always occur, even if it is controlled inflation, even if it is a little, it will always occur. Deflation is not a good sign for an economy. So life is always going to get more expensive. And I need wages to cover with that. The goal with writing I've always had is to supplement. The real goal I have with writing is to supplement my income. That, I think, is tangible. I don't think it's going to happen today, tomorrow, this year. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 4 years. 5, even. I definitely don't think it'll happen in this decade. Maybe next decade. Maybe by the time I'm 40, I could make a little bit off of writing. And then a little bit more. To the point where it could be, a quarter or a fifth. That'd take a great deal of effort, and I'd have to get really lucky with that. Well, that's a goal I'm shooting for. And of course, the even more tangible one, the controlled one, is I just want to have a nice time writing stories. Tell these stories that maybe only my friends read. It's good enough for me. In my personal life, I really don't have many goals. Maybe I should. Maybe I definitely should. I've got a younger coworker of mine. He's a real good dude. He wants me to take a risk in some regards. I am 29 as I started this whole thing off with first video, and I'm really just settled in my ways. I've been settled in my ways since I left high school. My personal life, from most aspects, I've got good friends. I got to spend time and hang out with them, or when you want to talk. Accomplishments, stories, romantic endeavors. I've got none. I have no wild stories of my past. I did not have a wild youth. My 20s are almost over, and I went to school. That is it. I went to school, I went home, failed at writing when I was really young, I played video games, I got a bit older, I told stories through D&D. What in the world was all that? Something fell off a truck, that's for sure. My tire did not pop, so I'm okay. I didn't have a wild youth, and I don't think I'm going to have wild days ever. It's not who I am. I'm a very controlled individual. If I don't feel, at least in some control, I don't do well. I like to know a general outline of what I'm doing. Not too much, don't need to go into too much detail, but a general outline of what I'm doing. Except on days when I'm doing nothing. I do want to try some things. Honestly, a thing I've done before and would like to do again. I have gone hiking before. In the book, the character is a hiker, mostly because my friends have gone on hikes, and I never joined them because I live so far away from them. But I want to say screw that, and when the weather warms up, join in, go on a hike. The biggest thing from a personal perspective that I should have as a goal is just to get more confidence. It's not that failing my dissertation broke my confidence, it's I didn't have any beforehand. I've never been a very confident person. Always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that I'm on the edge of failing. I'm thinking that I'm on the edge of being fired. I'm thinking that I'm on the edge of everything going wrong and it all falling apart. To everyone I know, I feel like I'm behind. That is still the case. Didn't intend for this to be one where I got down in the end, but the main thing is there's still time. There's always time. Time is the greatest resource we have. It is a finite resource in the end. But there is still time. My goal for March is just to continue writing. Now that I don't have my dissertation, to do it more. By the end of the month, I'd like to get into editing my book. That's where I'd like to shift. So I'd like to write this short story, continue and finish it, maybe write one more, maybe one that is continuing, maybe one that's similar, maybe one that's entirely different, and then I want to get into the editing, or maybe after I finish this short story, I'll get into the editing of my book. And I'll do another check-in, maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. Well, actually, I do have some exciting news on the work front. For me, it's exciting. Maybe it means nothing, but for me, it's exciting, and I'm really happy about it. On the 16th of this month, I will be helping out my boss at a local convention that's going on. This will be my first time working a convention. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited. I did flea markets when I was a small child, helping out my mom when she worked in a bakery. But that was barely anything. I barely did anything, and I mostly played on my GBA, other than setup. So this will be my first time actually working a convention, and of course, it's for a card shop / game store, not a bakery. I'm very excited about it. That'll be on the 16th. Until then, I'm going to enjoy my 3-day weekend that I've got starting tomorrow, or tonight, and I'm going to spend time with my best friend in the world, a man that I've known since 7th grade. I'll do some writing. I will hop on Indeed. And launch out some resumes for jobs that I probably don't really want, just to see if I can get callbacks or interview requests to boost my confidence. And then I'll do a check-in maybe next week, maybe the weekend. There's always time. This one had no purpose, but I guess if there is one, is that there's always time. New month, new story, always time. Never enough though.